line is released. Good evening and welcome to Roundball Digest. I'm your host, Fran Libanotti, along with Bruce Live for the next several Thursdays commencing on Thanksgiving at 5:30. We're going to be here to talk a little basketball with you. And I'm really honored because if you'll notice in our promo, we were talking about, well, what are you looking for in a local basketball show? What I'm looking for in a local basketball show is a coach who's played the game, a coach who's been successful, a coach who's altered his styles according to the talent that he's had. And that coach, a friend of mine, Mr. Bruce Live.
Great to be here, Lib. Looking forward to talking about this year's players, this edition of the Hazelton Area Cougars. We have a great group of kids working very hard right now, every day in the gymnasium, and we lost a lot of people from last year. We're going to talk about those people and tell the viewing audience what they're doing. They're being, very successful at colleges around the state, and led by Terry Kringy, of course, in Boston.
I think what's nice tonight, Bruce, remember the old Roman god Janus with the two heads, one facing to the past, one looking to the front. And I think that's what we're going to do. Our show tonight will start with those youngsters, because those names became really household terms. You start looking at the people who started for you the last couple of years. You had the tandem in the backcourt of Ryan and Terry. I mean, we just seem to become part of our family with those guys. And, of course, the development of Jason Ponton, the incredible shooter of Robbie Makarevich, who did such a great job. And, of course, then you used several other players in that fifth spot. And I think the success you had throughout the year against a really talented league, I mean, we're going to talk about that throughout the year. But last year, the conference, I thought, was probably the best balance that I've seen it since Hazelton area entered it.
I think you're right, Liv, and it attests to the fact that we had, of the three all-conference teams, 14 of the 15 players were seniors, graduating seniors from last year.
We're going to be back with Coach Live. We're going to take a look back on those talented four.
Syracuse University-bound Bill Seelig wants another crack at a state title. Valley View's first big test is Tuesday against Wyoming area. The Cougars and the Warriors Tuesday night at 8, only on WYLN.
Welcome back to Roundball Digest. I'm Fran Libanotti, along with head coach of the Hazelton Area High School Cougars, Mr. Bruce Live. We talked before the break, Bruce, last year's talented squad. No doubt about it. When you look at balance, you look at kids that were able to run, press, play the good D. Your matchup zoning, we'll talk about that throughout the season, but I don't know if anybody played better defense. We keep talking about the number of points those kids scored, but your defense was tremendous, the way they helped each other. And what are some of the thoughts that come to mind when you think of that addition?
Well, again, kids that are going to be very difficult to replace, Libby. As pleased as I've been to this point with our team this year, they're working very hard. Obviously, they have big shoes to fill in kids like Terry Kringy and Ryan Leib, Robbie Makarevich, Jamie Kohler. There's 4 kids there, and Jason Pott, and 5 seniors that really started. I don't think I've ever had an all-senior starting lineup since I've been coaching. So excellent kids. I think what comes to mind with especially as you said on the defensive end, they played very well together on both ends of the floor. And as a cohesive unit on defense, they learned the matchup over the years, and they really knew how to help each other out and run cutters through and so forth, which is something we could talk about throughout the season with our matchup defense.
Okay, with that success breeding success, I guess some of these youngsters, just in being able to practice against those guys, probably have gotten better.
Absolutely. Kids like Jeff Rush and Matt Scarcella, who are seniors and should be in our starting lineup this Friday against Hatboro, have played behind Terry Kringy and Ryan Leib for the last 2 and 3 years, defended them every day at practice, and they're confident because of that. They know they played against Terry, a first-team All-Stater, and Ryan, a first-team All-Conference player, along with Robbie. I think, as I stated before, as a guard trio, I think they were unsurpassed in the state of Pennsylvania last year.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we have some footage I'd like you to comment on. We're going to show Ryan Leib first. And, some of the things that made him so successful as an outstanding guard.
Yeah, there's Ryan hitting a 3. again, Ryan had great shooting for him, and still does. He's playing JV basketball at St. Joe's, but Ryan focuses on the rim when he shoots, follows through, and obviously we're going to miss his shooting. Also played good D. You know, wasn't afraid to mix it up. Throws a drop back pass here to Robbie Makarevich, who is just an outstanding standstill shooter.
That's one of the things that really impressed me, that with the fact that Ryan could really shoot extremely well, and so could Terry. But, you know, we talk so much about team-oriented guards. They really were, because on a given night, if they wanted to, they probably could have put up 30 points.
Well, you know, that was always said about Terry because he was such a great athlete at 6'2", and there's no question about it. They all could have scored more, especially Terry. And, of course, the three of them are great shooters. Robbie was just an outstanding shooter also, and they're going to be missed. They're all doing well, and we'll talk about that.
Okay, we have another ball player that's coming up, Jason Ponton. I think that, again, you look at the talent and the improvement of this youngster.
There's a block shot by Jason. Kid that was a very smart player, just really, you know, learned our system and didn't really jump real high. There's Ryan taken to the basket off the block shot and rebound and outlet by Jason. Jason, a turnaround jumper in the lane, really improved his shooting touch throughout the year, Liv, and can't say enough about him. He increased his free throw shooting percentage 20% throughout the year. Jason taking it to the basket hard, scoring. One of the hardest working kids I've ever coached. Jason
I would have to say, and I know you've coached a tremendous number of youngsters over the years, but I don't know if anybody showed the tremendous improvement from sophomore to senior year that Jason did.
Certainly, vastly improved, but again, on the free throw line, shot like 58% his junior year on the team that went to the Eastern Final. Shoots 72% his senior year. I've never seen anything like that. Started both years. It wasn't like he was taking a few free throws and then a lot, or vice versa.
Okay, and of course, Terry Kringy, 4-year starter for you. I guess there's a soft spot in the heart for that point guard.
Well, I mean, the best. Look at him here at 6'2", point guard, graceful, behind the back, finds people, finds Robbie in the corner, and that's something that I've never seen anybody do better. Unselfish. You don't like kids that throw jump passes. Terry did them very well. He's taking it to the hole on a patented Kringy move, down the lane, doing a tremendous job now at Northeastern, which we'll talk about. Here's Terry with a pull-up jumper, and I believe that's Coughlin playing. If not, it was Pittston.
Before we move on, we're going to be looking at Rob Makarevich, but I've often wondered, now, you picked Terry as a freshman, and he starts on a team that went to the state title. What did you see in him for a boy maybe 14, 15 years of age that had that offense that had, you know, was talking about, of course, with Hassan and Chris Long, John D'Agostino, those talented youngsters?
Terry could have started the very first practice, not only the very first game. When he was a freshman, he was that good. He didn't start the very first practice, but it didn't take him long to earn a starting position. And he's doing the same thing now, I hear, at Northeastern. It didn't take him long to get into the starting lineup.
Okay, here's that other talented member of the triumvirate, Rob Makarevich.
Robbie, just an outstanding shooter. There's a pull-up jumper on the baseline. Great kid, very coachable, very athletic. He's going to get better and better at Susquehanna University. Taking the ball, leaving his feet very well. He dunks the ball with two hands. There's Ryan. This is the end of the game at Nanticoke, where the ball kind of was jostled around, and Robbie hit the big shot. And there it is again. The big shot when we beat Nanticoke at home. And obviously a key victory. They've already beaten us on the road.
Use the term pure shooter. It's not one of the terms I like, but we're going to talk about that in subsequent shows, because I really think that we've taken an awful lot of verbiage in basketball. And I know you're a traditionalist. You go back to the kind of shooter, and just seeing Ryan, it's amazing. You talked about his nice release. And I coached you your sophomore year, and I thought you had one of the nicest releases, long arch on what would have been three-point shots. You really enjoyed that shot outside the line, but we didn't have the line at that time.
That's very kind, Lib. I was not known for the, well, if I was known for anything, it was maybe a little distant shooting, but someone in. Most of them hit the rim.
Long distance. That was from area code to area code. I wanted to mention one other boy, too, Jamie Kohler, who unfortunately suffered through an awful lot of injuries, but came up with some key plays, and he was another talented, intelligent player. I was fortunate to teach all those youngsters that we just talked about. And it's amazing because they were truly scholar athletes. And I know, Ryan, you're talking top 10, but those other four guys were individuals that, again, can handle themselves beautifully in the classroom. All
honor students, Libby, and of course, you know, you have to also be talented. Being an honor student doesn't always cut it as a basketball player, but it certainly helps if you have the talent and you're also a good student. And that it really helps. Basketball's a quick game, as you know, played 92 by 50 feet. You have to make quick decisions. Those kids were the best at it, along with Danny Glesman and another senior off the bench.
There's another talented young boy, right?
Who's off at Shippensburg now. But
maybe you could briefly review that. Now, you've gone through those. There are 6 seniors that are playing college basketball.
Yeah. Well, Danny's not right now. Danny is Shippensburg. I talked to Coach Goodling down there, and they had most of their people back. And Danny is concentrating on his studies, and it's a Division II program where Danny might be more of a Division III player, but he's going to try it next year.
Okay, that's good. You did mention Ryan is playing JVs at
Ryan's
St.
playing
Joe's,
JVs at St. Joe's, which is, of course, a Division I school that went to the NIT final last year. Jason Ponton's playing up at Rochester University. Jamie Kohler at Albright University. And, of course, Terry Kringy is starting at Northeastern, and in his first game at 13 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. He's at it again as a freshman.
You had to feel pretty good in that game because at Niagara, of course, we have another one of your players playing.
Well, by the way, the report came from Hassan Abdullah. What a gracious report. His former teammate Hassan reported, gave us a call and said Terry really tore it up. Niagara did win the game. Hassan played well, but Terry had the best game for Northeastern in his very first game.
That really has to make you feel good. Again, the adjustments you made, that first team, pretty big guys. Last year, overall size really not there. And that's what I've enjoyed in watching your teams, because it seems as though you've changed the way you play the game according to the talent that you have. You don't tell me before the year starts what you're going to be doing. It seems like you wait to see the players you're going to get. That determines your strategy.
Well, what do you see us this year with the one unit we put in? We're very small, other than Matthew Tucker, and we could, if he's on the bench being sub for, we can be real small. But the kids are tough and shoot the ball, I think, very well.
Okay, well, we've had that Janice taking the look backward. Now we're going to, after we take this break, we're going to come back and look at the current edition of the Eights Larry Cougars. Okay, back with the Roundball Digest and head coach Bruce Live. Really nice reminiscing about the success we had before, but again, life of a coach. New challenge this year, and it's interesting. I'm not going to use the term no-namers because it's not fair to these youngsters. They've been here, but as I said before, household names are gone. We'd be interested in this year's roster, what we can look forward to in seeing your squad play.
Could be an intriguing year, Lib. I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying coaching. If I put a lot of pressure on myself, and as far as winning and so forth, but if there was ever a year that maybe the pressure was would be dissipated, it would be this year, I think, and I want the kids to know that too. Go out there and you know, not a lot is expected of you. I mean, we lost 5 starters, but we're going to play to win every game, and we'll look at every game differently, I think, as far as up-tempo, slowing it down, and so forth.
I think that's been the key to your success. I like that, because someone's saying, well, we're going to play this way for 22 games. There are going to be certain teams you probably think you can run with. You know, other teams you're going to have to walk it up because they might be a little bit stronger in certain areas.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think our forte will be getting good shots and trying to hit those shots. Let's talk about the seniors first. Our co-captains, Matt Scarcella and Jeff Rush. Matt Scarcella is a kid that has worked extremely hard over the summer. He put on 15 pounds of, I think, solid muscle. Is a lot stronger. I think the fans are going to be surprised at the Matt Scarcella. They say he could shoot the ball very well. His range is about 16 to 18, but he surely can hit three-pointers also. Matt is going to be a key for us this year. He has a good inside move, can play inside sometimes if he has to take it to the basket or even post up. Jeff Rush is going to run the point guard position for us. Again, played against Terry Kringy for the last 3 years, and our other co-captain shoots the ball very well, is learning the point guard position, which isn't easy to do, especially for a senior. Jeff played point guard for the JVs. He's an outstanding kid, works real hard, and I'm looking forward to having Jeff man the control, so to speak, for us this year. Other seniors on the squad, transferred Nick Monafor, who's originally from the Hazleton area and has moved back as a senior from Arizona, shoots the ball very well, very athletic, Lib. Needs to work on his ball handling a little bit, but he's done some very good things thus far, and we should see a lot of playing time. 2 other seniors, Tony Meso and Jamie Marco, ironically the last 2 were inducted into the National Honor Society recently, as you know, as principal. And Jamie, let's take Jamie first. Jamie Marco was cut from the team last year as a junior and is back and really developed, got stronger, and should see some playing time this year as a senior. Tony Meso just works extremely hard, 5'11" forward, and very small for a forward, but very smart, knows the offense, and does an outstanding job. They're our seniors, our 5 seniors for
That's a real nice story with Marco, and it shows again that the kid, because it's seeing the kind of person he was in the classroom, real gentleman. And the fact that he went out and worked his way back to the team, because a lot of youngsters would have felt, if I didn't make it as a junior, my chances as a senior, of course, are going to be very, very slight. That's a nice story.
Absolutely. And the 3 senior guards, Scarcella, Rush, and Montefiore, could start. 2 of the 3 should start most of the time, along with the juniors that we have on the squad, led by Matt Tucker.
Seems like a pretty quick team, maybe relying a little bit on the threes and possibly driving to the basket. They probably are all good foul shooters. Your teams over the years have been excellent foul shooters.
And I don't like to just rely on threes. We don't want to go with the complete Kentucky offense, but Matt Tucker certainly has a tremendous amount of athletic ability, and he still hasn't put it together yet, but when he does, I think he's really going to be something.
Well, you mentioned Tucker. Any other juniors that are going to get a lot of playing time?
Absolutely. Michael Barletta has been playing very well of late, has a chance to be a starter at the 2-guard position, which is more of a shooting guard position. Adam Uhas, who's a power forward, who's been playing really well of late, had kind of a slow start getting in the tip-top shape, but he's really coming on, looking real good and very pleased. And Nathan Mariano, who will right now be a backup point guard to Jeff Rush, but it could also come in at the 2-guard spot. Nathan, another really good student athlete who I have in class, and does a great job.
Looks like you can do several things with those kinds of guys, where maybe sometimes you might even see 4 guards, I guess, into the ballgame, maybe at one time, depending on game situation.
Absolutely. We might even start 4 guards. You might even see 5 out there sometimes. I believe in playing the best players who perform the best at practice, and size is not a factor if they're doing the right things.
Okay, we've talked about our team. Now, challenging schedule coming up. We're looking, I guess, at the Hatboro Invitational, then talking about our own Cougar Classic. So, after this break, back with Coach Live, upcoming Cougar games.
Presents a new live show called Viewpoint, starting soon.
Back with Coach Live. I think, Coach, you wanted to mention, looks like you got through about 3/4 of your squad.
Yep.
A couple other players you'd like to mention before we talk about
that. Three other juniors on varsity lib. Lenny Leshko, who's really come on and is an improved player. He's going to probably play a little bit of JV ball to keep him active, especially in the first half of JV games. He's done a nice job. He's a post player, a true post player, a low post player like an Adam Uhas, and those 2 guys, along with Bill Jamison, a sophomore, probably are 3 post players in our program right now. The other 2 juniors who will play a lot of JV basketball will be Charlie Sanko and Brent Teeters. Charlie, outstanding streak shooter, really could hit the 3-point shot. And Brent Teeters, probably one of our more improved players, not only could shoot well, plays good defense, really thinks the game through. And really impressed with those 3 kids I mentioned also. So I'm looking forward to those kids developing.
Okay, upcoming schedule now. I guess we start Friday evening?
Yeah, it's, my good friend Ozzy Ostrowski, we were always the team nobody wanted to play. It seems like now he called me, says, Coach, the straws were just drawn and you're playing us. And of course, that's interesting because I don't blame him. I mean, we've probably beaten him, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. And he thinks maybe he can get one off us. So we might surprise some people. The other 2 teams are Germantown Academy, and they're supposed to be very strong. And North Penn, led by Jamison, their point guard, one of the best in the East. So very strong preseason tournament, the Tip-Off Classic at Hatboro. We're looking forward to it. It's a first-class run deal. Kids stay over, T-shirts, sweatshirts, all meals are provided, and it's a lot like our Christmas tournament here. They do a great job down there.
Yeah, I was wondering, it's rather odd because you would normally think that because of the strength of both our teams, I know he's expecting a good club, because of you, we always are good, that you would have thought that he would have probably had an opposite bracket.
I really don't know I don't think they draw straws. I think they obviously want to choose the teams, but I think they put their heads together, and they played us in the summer. We had a tight game with them. They're very big and physical. They're much bigger than we are, more physical, and they have the best sophomore in the state in Matt Carroll. He was the best freshman in the state last year. He's clearly the best sophomore in the state, 6'5", guard. Tennessee's looking at him, North Carolina already.
Okay, now I don't like to jump ahead because I know that's our first concern, but I guess later you'll be hosting a classic yourself, am I correct?
Right.
And then what teams are going to be taking part
It's
in that?
December 27th and 28th, and of course, we'll talk about that in future shows with Pocono Mountain, Wissahickon, and Parkland along with us, and that should provide interesting.
This one looks like a dynamite tournament. Then when you're mentioning, I didn't know that the others being North Penn, of course, and Germantown coming in.
Germantown
with teams
has 4 starters back. I understand they're very athletic, and it's going to be interesting. Our kids have had 2 great scrimmages, I might add, with Easton and Allentown-Durif. Both, I would say, we won. I'd say 75% of the quarters in each scrimmage. So scrimmages are sometimes deceiving, but I liked what I saw.
I like the fact you went against some of the supposedly powerful teams also, and I know you don't want to mention this. I heard we looked real good, and I'm not saying who won the scrimmages.
We looked real good, and and we have to take that cautiously, optimistically, I guess, and saying that Parkland's the best team in the East Penn League. Durif was without their football players, but we did look, I thought, pretty good.
Okay, we're going to be winding up in a few minutes.
That's my Joe Paterno, pretty good.
Okay, I like that, Coach Live. In a few minutes, I just wanted to alert our audience that don't forget to join the award-winning WYN crew Tuesday night, December 3rd. Valley View travels to Exeter to face Wyoming area. Now that's going to be live, 8 o'clock. WYLN. I think you might know something about some of the players in that game.
Valley View, Billy Seelick played with Terry and my son Ryan, and pace setters years ago. He was like in 8th grade, and he was really green then. Not a very good player, but big. He really came on, and I believe is signed with Syracuse. He's a real good player right now, about 7 feet tall.
Okay, and you saw this kid develop. That's great.
Yes, yeah, with the pace setter program, yeah.
All right, again, Coach, we thank you very much. Inaugural program. I've really enjoyed being here. Remember, for our fans out there, if you want knowledgeable basketball, tune in and listen to Bruce Live. Career educator, career coach, veteran, successful in Denver, successful at Hazleton High School, successful at Hazleton Area High School. Looking forward to it. Really enjoyed being with you. Remember, every Thursday evening, 5:30, we'll be here hosting the show with Bruce Live. We hope that you have a very happy Thanksgiving. Look forward to seeing you next week.